Well, hey y'all, welcome back to Doug's Cars and welcome to November. I haven't been able to do a lot of videos recently just because we had the remnants of a hurricane come through and then it was just nasty for a little while, and then, you know, the time change, and that just doesn't help anybody. So it's time for me to try to start up Wooderson, the Grand Wagoneer. So you can still see there's a little bit of remnants from the hurricane on it. This is a carbureted vehicle. It's a 5.9 liter 360 cubic inch V8 made by AMC. This is a 1987. It has the square and round key, which I've shown before. The vehicle is actually owned by a friend of mine, and he stores here at my house, and so I get to drive it from time to time, and I have not driven it in a while, so I'm gonna hop in, see if we can't fire this up on the first try. Wooderson's not always been good at that. All right, I'm gonna pump the gas a few times because it is a carburetor, and then let's see. Sounds good. Some more gas. Come on, Wooderson. Oop. Yeah, it's got a spot in there. It does that. Hey! Awesome! Fired up. And then the phantom weird power door locks automatically locking, even though this car is way too new for that to be a thing. But hey, it happened. The air conditioning is working. It's actually warm today, so that's a good thing. That only cranked for a few seconds, and I haven't started this in almost 2 weeks. That's fantastic. Let's take Wooderson for a drive once he idles for a few minutes and see how Wooderson's driving. Awesome. Success. I just had this battery on the charge for a while, a month or so ago, and it's been good ever since then. But this vehicle has some type of draw on the battery where just from time to time will not start. Just totally dead. But obviously not today. That was fantastic. Buckle up for safety, as I don't know if that was AMC that used to say that or not, but let's see. Oil pressure's good, almost 60 pounds. Charge is good, 14 volts. Still a little cool, but almost a full tank of gas as well. Oh, there we go. As usual, when you have more than one car, or multiple cars, you've got to kind of play musical chairs here. Make it around the tree. Good. And out into the street. It definitely does not drive like anything modern. It does have power front disc brakes, which, you know, most vehicles of the era had, but it is not a modern vehicle. There we go. All right. Now Wooderson likes to stall at this stop sign down here, but I let him idle for a little while longer, so I'm hoping that'll be okay. That usually only happens when the idle has not had an opportunity to really do its thing. The brakes are took a big push on the brakes that time. All right, did not stall. I think I've made a video driving Wooderson before where it stalled right there. Excellent. Driving pretty well. Blowing the pine needles off even. Very good. I think we'll go down by the river and show off Wooderson down there. I only need a dog hanging out the rear window to make this the perfect, like, Reader's Digest or what are those magazines? One of the Yankee woodworking magazines or something like that, or the lifestyle, Cape Cod Illustrated, ACK magazine, something like that. Even though, as far as I know, this car's never been to Nantucket. Although these definitely show up there all the time. And turn signal's working nicely. AC's nice and cold. I mean, it was warm in here when I got in because it's about 70 degrees out today. And so the problem is the AC compressor needs some repair. The clutch does not switch off. So when you start the vehicle, the compressor's always on. If you don't have the AC on, it freezes up. And it literally becomes a block of ice, and that's not good. So as long as you switch it on so it's working, that's great. But because this car is of an era where it's got a separate heating and ventilation system, and the AC was kind of more of an add-on, even though it came with it from the factory at this point, it's got, like, you you can't really make the AC hot. It's always basically cold. Even when you slide it over, it doesn't put out hot air like you would when it's on heat. And you know, that's difficult. It'll be fun in the winter when I take Wooderson out with the AC on. So hopefully we can get that compressor issue sorted fairly quickly and get Wooderson back on the, you know, on the right foot, because the compressor works really well. It's an R12 system still. It's never been converted. So as long as it works, that's great. You know, at some point it probably will fail just because it's old, but why swap it out if it doesn't need to? I think it's just a clutch issue, because obviously it works, and it works well. Yeah, we are approaching the river. Parking lot over here on the right, and then this fine road here is Riverside Drive. I'm not quite sure why they call it that. Oh wait, yeah, there's the river, that's why. James River, and some fine fall foliage. Pretty nice. It's only early November, so the trees haven't fully changed, and you know, they won't for another couple of weeks, I would say. You know, going 25 miles an hour on a little side road along the river is one thing, but make sure this battery is charged up. So we'll take Wooderson up here on the bridge across the river, that it's actually like a 45 zone. Most people go faster than that. I can get out. Of course, that's the one thing about Wooderson. When there's oncoming traffic, you can't pull out in front of them. It's just not going to work. Wooderson does not have that much get up and go. Despite this being a 5.9 liter 360 cubic inch V8, it only made 144 horsepower, and that was 142,000 miles ago in 1987 when this vehicle was made. So if you take away the rule of thumb of 1 horsepower per year, 33, almost 34 years, we're dealing with like 110 horsepower here, and that was, you know, before any drag from the drivetrain, the transmission, the 4-wheel drive system, all that. So yeah, but here we are going 45 now on the river, or on the bridge. Little whistle in the wind here from probably one of the weather stripping on the door. It's the thing with having a classic car is there's always a little something, A, that you need to leave broken, and B, that's going to be wrong. And you know, that little wind whistle probably was there when it was new even. You know, these vehicles were designed in the early 60s by an industrial designer, and you know, they're iconic and classic designs, but they're not aerodynamic, they're not modern, they're never meant to be. I mean, this should not have been made until 1991, but it was. And you know, they're fantastic, and yes, they're beautiful, but they are also a handful. This worked well as a family car in 1987, but now it would not be acceptable. I mean, the drivability issues of a carbureted engine, for one thing, and a 3-speed automatic transmission. I believe it's a Torque Flight that was made by Chrysler, but it has its own casing in it, so they're not interchangeable. I believe the guts may be, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're not interchangeable. And yeah, so this one's owned by a buddy of mine. Wooderson lives at my house. Wooderson has an online presence. You can look him up on Instagram at GW_Wooderson. And yeah, it's a fun vehicle to drive. I'm glad that I get to do it from time to time and bring these cool things to y'all, because not everybody gets to experience a vehicle like this. And when I was a kid, I wanted one of these really badly. I just never got the opportunity to have one, and now I don't have to worry about taking care of one myself because I watched one for a friend of mine, and I'm so glad for that opportunity. I'm grateful for it. Ooh, full throttle pull. This is like almost to the floor, folks. This is all we got. Oh, 30. 35. 40. No smoke or anything. Doing great. Sometimes you got to do, this is about as Italian of a tune-up as this vehicle can do, because it doesn't really rev like that. So I'm gonna take Wooderson home now. Had a good little like 15-minute run to get the fluids all nice and hot, and the engine nice and hot, and the battery charged up, and yeah, I will be bringing you more content soon. Took a little break there after the Cheap Car Challenge 2.0, and I'll be back at it. I've got some great stuff lined up to come your way soon, so please like this video, share it, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do. It helps me so very much, and helps me bring more content to y'all. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all soon.